Hey!
Welcome back to Nesson.com's The Spread. That is Nesson.com's football picks video podcast, the weekly collection of the Three Stooges making their Against the Spread NFL picks. I'm Nesson.com's Mike Colt. That's Ricky Doyle. That's Andre Kachaturian. And if you're a return viewer, maybe you noticed a little different this week. We've gone from the on-camera version of putting our hand in the ground to more of a stand-up hybrid role here. We're going to rush the passer from a stand-up position. No. Yes, that's the.
Yeah, that was the.
In case people didn't
the point he was trying to make.
Yeah, we're not sitting down.
Gosh, I didn't understand what you meant, so I just wanted to make sure.
I guess it was a bad.
We are not sitting down today.
The first of many things that I'm sure will go way over your head today.
A lot of things. Yeah.
Yeah, we're in week 15. Incredible. Really wild.
A
lot of movement. I know. This is, again, we've been talking about this week for a while, and I think we're probably one of the top games of the year. We'll get to that. We'll get to the three best games of the entire week. We'll also do some locks, upsets, and then we'll get you out of here with a little show and tell. Before we get into the week 15 slate, we'll look back to week 14 with our records.
Yes.
They were not great.
No, they were pretty good.
They were decent.
Combined all of them was 500.
True. I've held ourselves to much higher standards of late. We've been really good lately.
Yeah, I went 8-6 last week.
That's why it's good.
Closer to you, Mike.
Yeah.
I was 3 games behind you, but after you went 6-8, I am only a game behind you in first place.
That works. Yep.
And Ricky Doyle, 7-7, still in last place with 95 wins. I have 97 wins, and Mike, you have 98 wins. Sorry, I couldn't make a graphic today. It was just a lot of meetings.
95 wins. That'll take home the AL West. That'll get you into the second wild card spot.
So all 3 of us, I'm hoping, hit the century mark this week.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, that's nice thing to look forward to. So let's get into it. Like you said, a pretty good slate this week.
Top heavy.
Yeah, we have a horrible Thursday game, the Broncos and the Colts. Don't watch that. Do better things.
Peyton Manning Bowl.
Do whatever you have to do on Saturday. If you have things you have to do on Saturday, do them on Thursday night somehow. I don't know how, just make sure you get it done because we got Saturday football in the NFL. We have a Saturday afternoon game. The Bears and the Lions play, which actually we were talking about this the other day.
You made a good point.
This is a nice little. I got plans on Saturday night for like first time in forever. I don't know what we're doing, but I got to get ready. I think we might be having people over. Cleaning the house, nothing better than Bears and Lions on a Saturday. It's like a perfect game.
Yeah,
it's like not a game you don't want to watch necessarily.
It's like elevator music.
Right, but it's on in the background. I mean, I might have a little Andy Williams piped in over that, even with the sound off. A little happy holiday while I'm getting presents or stuff. Getting the house ready while watching a crappy game.
The fourth quarter, you flip the tree on. It's
not a game necessarily.
Like the Coliseum, they turn the cauldron on.
Yeah, all of a sudden it starts getting a little darker outside.
You don't want to sit there and watch the whole game, but it's not a bad little game to have on in the background. The game we're going to focus on, though, is Saturday night. And again, I'm going to have to find a way to watch this doing my social things because this is a good one. The Los Angeles Chargers, they are road favorites, correct?
Yes, 1-point road favorites.
That's according to OddsShark. Our friends at OddsShark hook us up with all the lines all the time. Yeah, so you got them at 1 point now? It was 1.5 earlier.
It says 1-point favorites.
So
Chiefs.
1 point. The Chargers 1 point favorites on the road against the Kansas City Chiefs. This is a game where if you had told me that this was going to be if you go back to week 5, 6, whatever, when the Chargers couldn't get out of their own way, couldn't find ways to win, the Chiefs were blowing doors on everybody. Now you guys, this is basically a game for the West. Again, a lot can play out over the last 3 weeks, but this is a huge game for both teams. And again, the Chargers, road favorites. Ricky, what are you leaning here?
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe you and I in particular should probably take a little credit for the Chargers run here because we kind of wrote them off early in the season because they had all those weird losses, couldn't kick a field goal to save their lives.
Just you two, though.
Found ways to lose games back then.
So, yeah, just finding ways to lose. Then they finally, they got the monkey off their back with 1 win, and then all of a sudden the rest is kind of in history. So I look at this, and I'm coming back around on the Chargers. I mean, the talent's always been there. They're finally putting it all together. I know that they haven't been great in Kansas City over the past few years, but if I'm putting, history up against the hot team, I'll take the hot team. And everybody wants to talk about that Chargers pass rush. Obviously, Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram, 2 of the best in the league. But their run defense has been a lot better, particularly over the last 3 weeks. I think that's a key in this one. So I think they go into Kansas City and they get it done. Kansas City, kind of a get-right win last week that they needed. They desperately needed that. But it came against the Raiders team that, I'm still a little cold on, particularly because of the defense. But, no such problems with the Chargers. Love that defense.
The Chiefs' win last week came against, you mentioned this in our picks column, that the Raiders dead last in DVOA.
Terrible.
So how much weight can you, much stock can you put in that Chiefs victory? Listen, can we finally start appreciating Phillip Rivers? So many times in the middle of the season, I talk about Phillip Rivers. Mike, you came out and said, Phillip Rivers, he just sucks. Let's stop talking about him. He's not very good. Can we just say he's not very good? I remember you said that. You went back and you looked at his numbers, and you're right, he wasn't very good. But the last 4 games, 8 touchdowns, no picks. But I think at the end of the day, this game will be won in the trenches, like most NFL games are won in the trenches. Chiefs rank 28th in sack rate. Chargers have allowed a sack on just 3.1% of dropbacks. It's the fewest percentage in the league. Phillip Rivers is getting a lot of protection, and we saw yesterday when even Jay Cutler gets protection. On Monday night, even when Jay Cutler gets protection, he can look like Peyton Manning. So you give Rivers protection, he has so much talent around him. And on the other side of the ball, Chargers 5th in sack rate. They're gonna get to Alex Smith's. They're gonna make life miserable for him. And listen to this. Since week 6, the Chiefs have run the 3rd fewest plays in football. You can't win. You can't score points if you're not running plays, unless you're scoring 90-yard touchdowns every time, which is not sustainable. But yeah, I'm going with the Chargers.
I'll buck the trend. I'll take the Chiefs here. Again, you're going to give me points. The Chiefs haven't played well, and I'm still not sold on the Chiefs after last week, again, because the Raiders team is horrible.
You're taking the Chiefs?
Yeah. Taking the Chiefs?
Yeah. It blows my mind.
Yes.
You're very concerned. This is squinting at the
This is how
the logo.
I thought all of us took the Chargers.
This is how the show goes. We all make our picks.
I know.
I'm
very shocked.
Again, I'm not totally sold on the Chiefs. I don't think that they're somewhere in between the horrible team we saw in the middle of the season and the great team we saw at the start of the season. I still think they're better than the Chargers, and if you're going to give me points at home, I'm going to take them. Kansas City's been a home underdog just once under Andy Reid. That was 2014. Remember that game, Monday Night Football? They blew the doors off of the Patriots. Andy Reid's last 11 games against the Chargers, 9-2. He's figured something out against that team. Again, you want to sit here, sure, Phillip Rivers has been better lately. Look at the teams he's done it again. I mean, we sat in here last week and knocked the Eagles, right, for what they've been doing against bad teams. Those 4 games you talked about, Buffalo at home, at Dallas, I guess,
No Zeke.
No Zeke. And, I mean, defensively, the Cowboys aren't great. That was without Sean Lee. Yeah. That secondary isn't very good. Cleveland at home, Washington at home. 2 bad teams. So 4 bad teams in a row. Teams that you can pass on. Teams that they've done a nice job. Keenan Allen's playing out of his mind. But I like that Marcus Peters shut down Keenan Allen in I think it was week 4. I think it was Allen was targeted 9 times. There's 5 catches for like 60 yards. Marcus Peters coming back after his 1-game suspension. Maybe he's got a little bit of something to prove, a little chip on his shoulder. He's played well against Keenan Allen in the past. What else do I like here? Kansas City is they're much better at home. That's been really a running theme for them under Andy Reid. They're better defensively at home. And I think you want something we haven't talked about yet? Special teams. I think this game maybe swings on a big punt return, big kick return. According to Football Outsiders, Kansas City has the 6th ranked special teams unit. The Chargers, dead last.
How did that help out the Chiefs in the last 4 weeks?
What have they been?
They lost to really bad teams.
Have they been?
Talked about the Chiefs.
I'm not talking.
You talk about the Chargers beating up on bad teams, but the Chiefs have lost to worse teams. Giants.
That point has been made. I made my point. I'm on to a different point here. What does that have to do with their special teams?
You're bringing up the special team. Okay, continue then.
Can you let me finish my damn argument?
I want you to
bring it back. Jesus Christ.
Chargers allowing 25 yards per kick return. That's 28th in football. Here's something. Chargers most touchbacks and fewest fair catches on punt returns.
Most touchbacks and fewest fair catches.
They're not doing a very good job of pinning teams deep. You give this team a decent field position. Go look at the numbers, too. You can pass on the Chargers on first down. I think it's going to be a nice little game for Alex Smith. Again, it comes down to I'm getting a point here.
I'm just saying, we can't deny the metrics. Chargers 4th in yards per play differential. And those came against Jaguars, who they lost to, Patriots, who they lost to, Eagles, who they lost to. But they played well in all 3 of those games.
Sure. Yeah, whatever. I mean, again.
Very good teams I just mentioned.
I just love their personnel offensively.
Yeah, they lost to the Chiefs, too. So.
They did, and Chiefs were one of the best teams in football back then.
All right.
What Keenan Allen? You say Marcus Peters shut him down when he had 5 catches, 60 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, in the context of things, that's shutting down Keenan Allen this year. He's been a stud.
Yeah. Again,
he's fantastic.
He's really good against the Browns and the Redskins. So Sunday afternoon, 4:25.
Gotta get those touchbacks in. That's what I say. Get the touchbacks in.
I don't see how that's a bad point. How is that a bad point?
Every time we see a touchback in that game now, we're going to be texting you.
It's not. It has nothing to do with the actual. It's not my fault. You guys are too simple-minded to understand the point. It has nothing. It has nothing to do with the actual touchbacks. No kidding. The game's not going to be won or lost against touchbacks, you dummies. I know that. It has to do with the fact that they're not an elite special teams unit, and you're kicking the ball to some dangerous punt returners there, dangerous kick returners. I can't wait till this game gets broken on a.
The one touchbacks help the Chargers in this one because then there won't be any punt returns.
I mean, maybe, but wouldn't you rather pin a team down at the 5 than the 20?
Yeah.
That's the point. That's the point.
If it's like Tyreek Hill returning that kick, maybe not.
Yeah, sure. Okay, maybe they kick away from him.
Devin Hester retired this week.
Yeah, a Hall of Famer?
Oh, absolutely.
I guess
so.
Nah.
Absolutely.
I don't like special teams.
Football, you get in where you do whatever you want.
They got a big policy against this. Matthew Slater, I've heard a lot of chatter about that lately.
Tell you what, whoever the
Devin Hester though, most electrifying player.
I get it. It's nice.
All right, let's move on to the next game.
Whoever the Chargers punter is not getting in. Rams at Seahawks Sunday afternoon. I don't actually know what time this game is. I saw 4:05 in one place, 4:25 in another. I imagine this is probably 4:05.
Late afternoon.
Yeah, 4:15. Nobody's gonna be watching it because everybody's gonna be watching the Patriots Steelers. But the Rams head to Seattle. Rams coming off a tough loss at home to the Eagles. I'm sure we're hearing about it from Eagles fans.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I didn't even check. Seahawks
very selective when we check the card.
Yeah, no, that's very true. Seahawks went on the road and got rolled by the Jaguars, a game that really wasn't probably even as close as the final score indicated. But still, Seahawks return home as last time I saw it, 2-point favorites. This is a huge game in the NFC West. I think whoever wins this game probably ends up winning that division. Andre, why don't you start this one?
I'm going to take the Rams over the Seahawks in this one. I know the last time these two teams played, the Seahawks won. You got to keep in mind, though, the Rams had 5 turnovers in that game, and they still only lost by 6 points.
That game was I got into that too in my research. What a disaster that was for the Rams.
Yeah, it's a winnable game that they should have won. Could have probably locked up the division. But again, I look at this game, Rams-Seahawks in Week 15, and I go back to the Seattle again and how just Russell Wilson has been having to carry this team on his back. MVP candidate. Now with Carson Wentz going down, he's probably all but wrapped up the MVP award, in my opinion. But you need a whole team to beat a team like the Rams. That's what the Eagles were. You saw Nick Foles go down, and they still lost to the Eagles because they have a complete team, Not Nick Foles go down. Carson Wentz went down. Nick Foles came in. Rams 4th in sack rate. We talked about the trenches. Seattle's offensive line isn't that great. We saw that last week. Jaguars were able to get to Russell Wilson. They forced 3 interceptions, 2 sacks. That's not going to work against the Rams. And listen to this stat. Russell Wilson has accounted for 81% of all the Seahawks yards this entire season. Rushing, passing, complete, total offense. Russell Wilson, 81%. If that holds up, it would be the highest percentage in league history. That's how valuable Russell Wilson is to the Seahawks team. He's the MVP, but unfortunately, you need more than just one great player to beat a team like the Rams. So, Rams, whose house?
The Rams house. I like the Rams as well. They're getting healthy. They're getting Robin Woods back, Connor Bowen back. Seahawks, meanwhile, they just keep getting in. I mean, guys keep getting hurt. We talk, it's week after week about all the injuries on that defense. Suffered a couple last week. Bobby Wagner, KJ Wright, not sure if they're going to play. Spent a great deal of time last week actually talking about how they've been able to survive defensively because of how good their linebackers have been.
Yeah,
now they might be without both of them.
I get into this too. I was totally wrong about that last week. I'll hand up. That's on me. I thought that maybe they'd be able to overcome that. They overcame it against Philly. Not so much against Leonard Fournette. 156 yards on the ground for Jacksonville last week.
So you get those guys out. That only hurts your defense a little bit more. Also, if from the Rams though, they got to get Todd Gurley the ball more. I mean,
Sean McVay mentioned that this week.
Yeah, I mean they pretty much went away from 16 touches against the Eagles. You need more than that. You need to get them at least 20, 25 touches. The numbers really bear it out. They're 2-4 when Gurley gets 20 or fewer, 7-0 when he exceeds that number. Right. So give him the ball, get out of the way. Rams win.
Yeah, Bobby Wagner injury is huge for me. I think he's a leading tackler.
He's really held everything together.
On a defense that's been actually pretty good against the run. Struggled against the run last week. Again, I think the injury's finally starting to catch up again to them. Again, like I said, 156 yards. Yeah, McVay better get Todd Gurley more involved when you're going up against that defense that is banged up as it is. Yeah, you go back to that game, crazy, 5 turnovers. Just take care of the football. Just take care of the football, and you're going to win this football game.
They had 3 fumbles, I believe, too.
Which is again, fumbles kind of fluky every once in a while. You got to hold on to the ball, but you're probably going to get one of those more often than not. Right. The Rams, since that game, 7 turnovers combined in 8 games. They've done a much better job protecting the football. The Rams in that game went 0-4 4 in the red zone. That is preposterous. Again, drive stalling, turnovers, just not doing the job in these little areas that you need to do well in order to win. I think they're a better football team now than they were back then. They kind of fixed this stuff. Again, last 3 weeks, they're 12th in red zone offense. So they've figured that out. That was a bugaboo for them early on. It hasn't been as much of an issue. The run defense still not great. That's not going to hurt you against a team like Seattle. So obviously, I mean, I guess I haven't formally mentioned I'm taking the Rams here. I told you guys about this early in the beginning of the season. I'm kind of big on this website, Sharp Football Stats, this year. I thought this was interesting. Seattle is 31st in the NFL in running the ball on first down in terms of like what it defined as a successful play. The Rams defense, 15th against the run on first down, 3rd against the pass on first down. Go back to last week in Jacksonville. This is, again, per Sharp Football. Through the first 3 quarters when the game was relatively close and Seattle wasn't playing total catch-up football, 3.9 yards per play on first down, 1.5 yards per pass attempt. Wow. If they can't get it going on first down, you're putting yourself in bad situations especially against good defenses. And again, Jacksonville, great defense. The Rams, not so much, not as good, but again, that's a pass rush going up against that offensive line. Yeah. You're asking a lot out of Russell Wilson. I think this is a nice little bounce-back game for the Rams. Maybe a little wishful thinking as a Packers fan, because I need the Seahawks to lose.
Yeah, pass rush. Aaron Donald, I mean, finally got the recognition he deserved last year, at the end of last year. Complete stud, had that whole holdout thing, but he's come back and been an absolute beast. I feel like you haven't heard about him quite as much this season. But, I was looking at this Pro Football Focus, had 7 QB pressures on Sunday. It's only 5 away from his previous high of 82, despite playing 53 fewer pass rushing snaps.
All of a sudden.
So he just basically can take over a game just like that.
Early in the season, you had those questions about, Wade Phillips, what's the deal with, Wade Phillips in Los Angeles. It's now all of a sudden, Aaron Donald has found his sea legs, started to play well again, and now there aren't questions about that defense.
And it's scary, like we said, going up against that offense.
The health, the big thing, too, like you mentioned. Woods, borrowing back. Also, Andrew Whitworth, they lost most of the tackles last week. Whitworth and Havenstein, both guys expected to play, as is Tremaine Johnson, which is big because they lost their other corner. So the Rams seem to be the healthier team as well. Speaking of healthy teams, that brings us into our 3rd and final game, probably the best game of the week, arguably the best game of the season, at least on paper. The New England Patriots go to Pittsburgh. This game Patriots opened as 2.5-point favorites on Monday morning. They're down to 2-point favorites after the loss Monday night to the Dolphins. They go to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. Again, that is the Patriots' 2-point road favorites against the Steelers. I just want to make this point. And I think a lot of people killed Mike Tomlin, myself included. Well, I've killed Tomlin for other things. This I didn't really care about. But he took a lot of flack for making this thing about, I'm looking forward to the Patriots, Steelers, blah, blah, blah. And people, especially in New England, killed him. This team's won 8 in a row. Again, I killed them last week in my show and tell. I'm still not sure that they're the best team in the AFC, but credit to them. They certainly, it didn't hurt them if they were looking ahead to this game. So, big one. Patriots, Steelers. Ricky, who do you got?
I'm taking the Patriots. And I think that, obviously it's hard to not be a little concerned after coming out of that Monday night game. But I think at least my biggest takeaway was kind of take Gronk for granted. Yeah. I think this year. I mean, because you could look back and see, all right, they won a Super Bowl without Gronk. But they also did that, with a healthy Julian Edelman, a Malcolm Mitchell, Chris Hogan, he only had 1 catch for 1 yard on Monday night. So he had all these other weapons at his disposal. I think that they missed him hugely on 3rd down, obviously on Monday night. You get him back, that helps him here. And also, I'm just putting a lot of stock in the Patriots not losing back-to-back weeks. I mean, the fact that this team can, correct a problem that was so as big as the defense was early in the season, that just shows me, they pick out what they did wrong. The following week, come back better than ever. So. It's a tough matchup. It is. It's a bad matchup for them, but I just can't. I just put a lot of stock into their ability to bounce back.
Just hold on real quick. Two quick points to what you mentioned, the 3rd down thing. This was the 2nd game of the season. The Patriots were without Gronk and without Edelman. Obviously, Edelman gone for the season. The other game was that Tampa Bay Thursday night game. The Patriots went 4 for 12 on 3rd down in that game. So that's combined this season. In those 2 games, they're 4 for 23 on 3rd down. I think Gronk is probably one of the most important players in football. That's not saying a whole lot that we don't already know. Yeah. Also, to your point, Patriots 40-11 since 2001 when Tom Brady took over after a loss. They don't lose back-to-back games.
Not only that, but against the spread. I actually looked these numbers up that according to the team rankings where we get a lot of information, 37-13 against the spread.
There you go.
Following a loss. Yeah. They cover 74% of the time. The next highest is the Saints at 59.8%. And their average margin of victory in those games, those victories, are 12.5 points. So they bounce back, and they bounce back in a big way.
Yes, they bounce back, but not often are those second games after a
I was
loss
going to
against
say,
the Pittsburgh
how
Steelers
often
on
have
the
those
road.
games been against the Jets, the Bills, or the
Exactly.
Dolphins?
So then here they are playing the Steelers.
Let's not act like the
On the
Steelers
road.
are coming into this game as a juggernaut, though.
No, but look, I'm part of team Steelers playing down to their opponents. I'm part of that.
Well, good luck with that
line
this
of
week.
thinking. Because they're not gonna. Well, they're gonna have to play up to that.
But I guess
They've won those. They almost lost to the Packers. They almost lost to the Ravens, but they won at the end of the day. And you know what stat blows my mind is Ben Roethlisberger when he throws the ball 40 times or more in a game. Usually when the quarterback has to throw the ball that many times, they end up losing in the game. He is 4-1 this year in those games. The rest of the league is 19-56. It's unbelievable. Ben Roethlisberger carrying the team on his back. Not speaking of underappreciated quarterbacks, it's another one. Big Ben this year. He's thrown a lot of picks. I get it, but he's putting the team on his back. I like it. But at the end of the day,
Everybody's on everybody's back. A lot of piggyback rides.
for the third consecutive time, I'm going to look at the battle of the trenches. And that's why I'm picking the Steelers in this one. The Patriots pass rush. They basically don't have anyone left on that team. Everyone's injured. I know that's the point you were going to make, so I'll let you talk about that more. And the Steelers protect Roethlisberger very well. Only 3.6% of dropbacks have resulted in a sack. It's the second fewest percentage. You give Ben Roethlisberger time to throw, he's going to hurt you. Every quarterback. I just talked about how Jay Cutler hurt the Patriots. I'm repeating myself now. But on the other side, Steelers 9% sack rate. Patriots middle of the pack in terms of protecting Tom Brady. Tom Brady's been getting hit a ton the last few weeks too.
That line looked like crap.
Yeah, I'm going to go in the battle of the trenches. Big Ben. Steelers are at home. They're angry after the AFC Championship.
Yeah. I don't like the fact that there's a little Steelers helmet next to my name here. I'm taking the Steelers, and I don't feel good about it. I think that that's one of these things where somebody might turn on the show right now and be like, look at these three idiots. Two of them took the Steelers, and maybe the Patriots win this game by 30. We look like dummies. But
No, that won't happen.
I can't. The Patriots are in a tough spot here. It's, again, like what they've done for the last 2 months. They had to go to Denver, or last month, excuse me, to Denver. Then they went to Mexico City. Came back to play the Dolphins, and they got the crap kicked out of them. Not in terms of the scoreboard, sure, but Tom Brady got knocked around a few. They got a couple injuries out of that game. Then you got to go to Buffalo, to Miami, playing on a short week against arguably the second best team in your conference, maybe the first best team. We'll find out this weekend. This is a tough little stretch, and this is really the end of that stretch. And again, we're starting to see the results of that. A lot of injuries. On the offensive line, on the defensive line, and I think the defensive injuries, I think, are really going to be the issue here. You saw Monday night what Miami was able to do. Kenyon Drake, a guy he's been a nice little find. Great job by the Dolphins, by the way. People were like, what are they doing when they traded Jay Ajayi to Philly? What is it, for a 4th-round pick? That's a nice little trade now, especially with Kenyon Drake's emergence. But he ran for 25 times for 114 yards. Also had 5 catches for 79 yards on Monday night against the Patriots. He was an X factor, a game changer, whatever stupid cliche you want to use. You know who's better than Kenyon Drake? Le'Veon Bell. And so I know that we can sit here and say that there's the cliche, again, where Belichick takes away what you do best. What exactly do the Steelers do best? It's just, all things being equal.
They get to the quarterback. That's what they do
Well,
best.
I mean, I'm saying like on offense, at least.
They get a ton of yards.
Are they going to take away Antonio Brown, which they've done in the past? Sure. Maybe you're going to double Brown or whatever. I still think that there's, flaws were exposed, or at least in terms of the injuries, make it difficult to really take away both Brown and Bryant. So I think one of those guys has a big game, and that's the difference for them. But I don't feel good about it because, again, there's so much that goes against the taking the Steelers here, because the Patriots just find a way to get it done against the Steelers. But it's just, again, it feels like there's too much going on, or too much going against the Patriots this week. These two teams meet again in the playoffs, even in Pittsburgh, might be a different story. At least, assuming they're healthy.
Yeah, I think it will be a different story.
Yeah, me too. Even if the game's in Pittsburgh, you know what I mean. So
I agree.
Assuming they're completely healthy. So, all right, let's get into locks and upsets.
It's a bigger game for Pittsburgh than the Patriots.
Yeah,
I agree.
definitely.
I think that when it comes to home field advantage, I think the Steelers need it more so than the Patriots do.
Yeah, I mean, we just talked about the fact that we probably pick against the Steelers even if they had home field, but if they win, they wrap it up. So, all right, locks. We'll start locks. Andre, you want to start?
Sure. My lock of the week, I'm going to go with the San Francisco 49ers. Or the Tennessee Titans. Look, it's unbelievable how one guy can completely changed the outlook of the team. I talked about last week how all of Jimmy Garoppolo's teammates were praising him. Here's what Kyle Juszczyk had to say about him this
Oh,
week.
thank God. I didn't get that quote sheet.
It definitely just builds the confidence. It gets everyone excited. I mean, it feels like a whole new season here. It feels like we started last week, especially getting a win. We wish we wish we had more games left. We wish we had a full season to do this thing with him. That's the most that's the happiest quote I've ever read from anyone say about anyone else. This team is pumped. They're going to finish strong. They're like the Milwaukee Brewers in Mr. 3000 when Stan Ross came out of retirement and they just got a new lease on life. Yeah. Stan Ross pumped up the team. They were in 5th place in the NL Central. They roared back and they finished 3rd. What a great, happy ending to that movie. And the 49ers are in the same situation. The Titans stink right now. Last 4 games, Mariota, 3 touchdowns, 8 picks. The team itself has a -7 turnover differential. Give me the Niners. I'm buying into this 49ers story.
Mariota banged up coming out of that game too, so
yeah,
helps your
there's
cause.
that too.
Mm-hmm. All right, my lock. I'll take the Falcons 6-point favorites over the Bucs on Monday night. I talked about how bad the Raiders' defense was, according to Football Outsiders. Well, the Bucs are a step below them, right ahead of them. Also a terrible defense. Lost Gerald McCoy. Jameis Winston, his coach, seemed to be going at it. Seemed to have a little bit of a rift. All the trends, there's a whole boatload of trends that say to favor the Falcons in this game. Was notably at the Bucs, terrible in primetime, terrible in December. Really, just the optics aren't great. Bucs have lost 3 in a row, including that sloppy loss to the Lions. Falcons, meanwhile, have kind of a new lease on life here, actually playing for something. Offense cooking, coming off that win against the Saints. So I think everything points to the Falcons in this one.
Sure. For my lock, I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys. They are 3-point road favorites at Oakland. The Oddshark supercomputer, or whatever they call it,
this thing is very wacky.
It's,
I gotta talk to him about that.
I don't understand, but
spits out some weird numbers.
26-18.
I love it, but it's just
it has the Raiders winning 26-18. So where the computer zigs, I'm gonna zag. I'm gonna take the Cowboys here. I don't really understand how you 3 points. I must be missing something here, right? Like, I don't understand this. This Raiders team is terrible. I think that's gonna be my new. This might be my new lock strategy, is fading them every week. I guess technically they're still alive, but they don't have nearly as much to play for as the Cowboys. Cowboys a couple wins here are back into this thing. It's they're gonna need a lot of help to get in, but they have a lot to play for still. We talked earlier about Gronk, how valuable he is. On the defensive side of the ball, Sean Lee's like the same thing, where they are 6-1 this year with Sean Lee, not counting that Atlanta game where he got hurt. He's back. He looked great. Dak Prescott, I just looked it up here. He's completed 60% of his passes over the last 2 weeks, 118.6 passer rating. Again, I can't state how badly that Oakland defense has played. I don't know. Again, like the 3 points kind of gives me cause for concern, but I'll take the Cowboys here because again,
Dak's
you guys took all the other
take
ones.
care of business against the bad teams. He's that good to take care of business at least.
I think, and if they lose this game, it is just despicable. Because if I'm not mistaken, Elliott's back next week.
Yes.
So again, it's a lot to feel good about if you're the Cowboys right now.
Alfred Morris, Rod Smith.
Yeah, they're
what
good.
a game he had.
Yep. So the Cowboys will find ways to score there. All right, let's do upsets. Ricky, you want to start?
Upset. I'll take the Cardinals over the Redskins. Redskins just really coming apart at the seams there. That loss to the Chargers kind of proved that. They've just been incredibly banged up for several weeks now. I mean, they're to the point now where Jay Gruden just wants them to finish games.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was a great quote that it came out of that game. They scored late to make it like 30-12. They could have went for 2, made it a 2-possession game. And Jay Gruden said that they didn't go for 2 because he didn't want to think about extending the game. He said, I wanted to get out of the game, get back on the plane, and get ready for Arizona. Because that's how banged up they are. Defense looks like crap, giving up 30 points in 4 of the last 5 games. Cardinals defense, meanwhile, looking pretty good. I mean, that team's not that great. Kind of mediocre, middle of the pack type of team, but defense pretty good. So I like the Cardinals getting 4.5 points in that.
There weren't any games that I really liked.
There's not a lot to choose from. Not a lot to choose from in the upset department.
I'm going to take the Bears over the Lions. Is that what you had?
Yeah, this is
how. Oh, sorry. I also had the Bears over the Lions, but I'm also taking Bears over. But give me the Colts.
We're in week 15.
The Colts over the Broncos. Thursday night. I'm digging into the Thursday night.
There it is. Pop it up there. There's the helmet.
Sorry. Look, the last 4 Colts games have come against pretty good defenses. The Bills, Jaguars, Titans, Steelers, all winning teams. I hate the Titans, but they're a winning team. They're playing the Broncos, who stink. They have the Broncos quarterbacks have the second lowest quarterback rating in football. How many quarterbacks have they used this year? 4 or 5? 3. Jacoby Brissett, he has some talent. 11 touchdowns, 7 picks on a bunch of games against tough defenses. I'll take him against the Broncos.
Sure. Cool. That was fun.
Jack Brissett.
Yeah, I will. I'll take the like I said, the Bears over the Lions.
Yeah.
I was the last person to get my picks in this week, so there weren't a whole lot left, and I wasn't going to take any of the double-digit ones. I don't really have a reason. These two teams met early in the season. The game was in Chicago, sure, but the Bears only lost by 3. I don't think the Lions are very good, so that's my. Who knows? Weird things can happen on a Saturday night in Detroit or Saturday.
Not only that, yeah, I never trust the Lions to win a big game.
That's a good point.
That's the thing. Weeks ago, and I'm sticking with that.
And that was kind of my thing too. Where it's like all of a sudden people are like, "Well, the Lions go on the road and get a nice win. They're back in the playoff hunt." Like, okay.
Isn't Matthew Stafford banged up too?
And that's
you got a hand
so
issue.
This just plays into the hands of. Then they come out and crap
again.
right down LA.
I don't really have a good reason for it, but I had to pick one. So.
Mitchie Trubes, last 2 games, 80% completion percentage, 2 touchdowns, no picks, and a rushing touchdown.
Yeah, they
Hall
took
of
care of
Famer.
business.
Yeah, I don't think that Lions defense is very good. All right, show and tell. Let's get out of here.
All right, I'm gonna start off.
This is a good find, by the way.
All right, this is. I'm gonna help.
I like how you kept the sign on it too.
This is a Gumball Machine.
Yeah, can you tell?
If you can tell, it's very big for the
Take the
screen.
sign off.
Oh, turn it around.
You're gonna put something in it.
The sign says free. Take it. We saw it in the hallway, so I took it.
So we obliged.
Here it is. Gumball machines. Do you guys have any idea where the first gumball machine originated from?
No.
Akron, New York. It is a suburb of Buffalo, New York. And you know what? I'm going to send this to Buffalo. I'm going to send this to the Bills headquarters. Because,
Great.
Joe Webb is their quarterback right now.
Exactly
Joe
what they
Webb. They lost Tyrod Taylor. They lost Nathan Peterman, who once had a horrible game against the LA Chargers earlier this week. 5 interceptions. He was pulled out of that game. Now they're selecting Joe Webb, who was returning kicks in the Super Bowl 2 years ago for the Carolina Panthers. They essentially have a kick returner as their quarterback. So it says a Buffalo, a little Christmas gift for the Bills and everything they've had to go through. They had a great win against the Colts in that snowy affair, but it's not going to. I don't see them getting any more W's the rest of the season.
You did not think this one through, did you?
Ooh, you don't like this?
You're sending him an empty gumball machine.
Because it's originated from Buffalo. Gumball machines are founded in Buffalo.
I want to be there when you craft the memo that you sent to them.
It's also the holiday season. Gift exchange.
But that's exactly what they need. Once they're done putting each other through the flaming tables, they'll use that to beat the tar out of each other.
You're Buffalo.
Joe Webb. Who's your favorite Webb? Spud Webb? Brandon Webb?
Joe Webb.
Joe Webb's your favorite?
Weather
Return kicks in the Super Bowl, win Snow Bowl games.
There's a gumball machine.
That's not bad. All right, I pulled a bunch of. We had a bunch of things from we got good friends over at WordPress. Good, very good blog, very good content management system. But we have a bunch of pins and stickers laying around the office with the W. So in this instance, I'm going to use the W to represent wins, which. Let's face it, the Cleveland Browns, they're not going to get any of these this year. No W's for them this year. This was their best chance. They gave it away. They mastered the art of losing. According to ESPN Analytics, they had over a 95% chance to win that game against the Packers. Coughed it up. They faced the Ravens, Bears, Steelers over the next 3 weeks. I guess maybe you can squeak one out against the Ravens at home, or maybe even the Bears and Steelers. Maybe if they rest everybody in the last game of the year. But I just don't see it happening because they will find a way to cough the game out. No W's. For the Browns
both of us
this
had
year,
the same theme.
Winless. In which case, Hugh Jackson, for his 2 years at the helm,
isn't he staying?
As the head coach of the Browns, will be what? If that's the case, they'll be 1 in 31. That's a tough. It's going to be a slow climb towards the 500 mark.
Good luck with that, John Dorsey.
We're going to talk about our records at the beginning of the show.
That's a good point.
Get Hugh Jackson in here.
Not a lot of credit for Brett Hundley, but that's all right. I got a snow globe. It's Christmas time. It's the best time of the year. I got a snow globe. This more or less could have been Buffalo last week. Nothing brings the football world together like a snow game. Am I not right? People were just falling over themselves. I tell you what, if I could have called Red Zone and been like, put it on this game for the entire time, I would have done that because it was so much fun to watch.
Scott Hansen would have been right there with you.
Yeah,
he was very excited about it.
The only reason I would ever want to watch the Bills and Colts play is if they're playing in a blizzard, and sure as hell they were playing in a blizzard. But I did think, I was thinking, a lot of injuries this year, right? A lot of injuries. Sports Illustrated, cover Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, you made it. You brought a get well soon cover.
Right, yes. The cover of Sports Illustrated this week just outlines. I think there's a huge cover story on injuries and stuff in the NFL. I figured it out. I know how to solve the NFL's injury problem. play every game in the snow. Those guys are moving at like half the speed. That's the problem. Everyone's too big, too strong, too fast. Mother Nature, great equalizer. If it snows every game, nobody's
Soft
getting
landing.
Yeah, exactly.
Not
Nobody's
so
gonna
much.
ever get
I've seen
hurt.
people get concussions in this.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. One real quick thing. You know who would love that is Deshaun McCoy, 61 rushes, 373 yards, and 3 touchdowns in 2 snow games. Remember that Detroit Philly game a few years ago?
Yeah.
Also, pour one out for the GOAT, Adam Vinatieri, who kicked probably the greatest extra point in the history of football.
The rotation on that ball.
But he also what he missed 2 field goals.
Yes.
He's got an incentive in his contract, $500,000 if he makes 90% of his field goals. He was at 95.7 going into that game, misses 2 of them. Now he's at 88%. Well, that might have cost him $500,000. I mean, I'm not going to cry for a Hall of Famer guy who's got bajillions of dollars, but that's a lot of money.
He could still get up there.
Yeah, and that's the thing. There's 3 weeks left. If he goes 9 for 9, he probably gets back to 90%. But as it stands right now, the snow just royally screwed Adam Vinatieri.
That extra point was not.
But you know what's also
like a
funny is
drone.
because of that snow, we had Joe Webb playing as Jacoby Brissett. You couldn't tell if it was because of the snow they were playing that or if they were just bad.
Yeah, that's a good point. It was fun. A lot of fun.
The score could have been the same if it was sunny in
Yeah.
875.
The accumulation was amazing. They're like up to their ankles.
It was awesome.
Yeah. It was
What a great time of year.
shout out to the
According to
league
NFLweather.com,
floor,
though, no snow games.
Yeah, it's gonna be a pretty average week. So, enjoy the games. We'll be back next week, God willing. I think next week might actually be might have to be a Christmas themed episode. I'm just saying, throwing that out there right now.
Sweaters.
Yep, but thanks for joining us. This is the Spread, NESN.com's Football Picks podcast. We'll be back again next week. See you guys.